could look me in the eye. It's all because of Jesus, he the reason I'm alive. I live by faith, by grace, you know that I ain't gotta strive. They told me, tone it down.
Yo, welcome to the Boat Parade. My name is Carlos Diego Montoya, and you killed my father. And this is the Hot Iron Skillet. Welcome to the Boat Parade.
Thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We are the Boat Parade, and today we are reviewing Game 4, the sweep versus the Florida Panthers. It was electric. Ryan, you were not watching the game, but you experienced the game. Tell us what that was like before we get into the breakdown.
So I was actually in church and had my iPad on my knee, had Twitter open as the small column, and the Bible open as the big column. As I
Priorities.
And then I had the game cast going on my phone at about the third period because it's an interesting experience not watching the game, but then having like 4 people texting you that are watching the game. And so I kept getting updates, and pretty much the whole game was summed up in this for me. It was, we scored. Actually, we didn't score. We scored again. Actually, we didn't score. Hey, we scored. We scored.
That was literally the game. Let's hop into it. During the first period, it was just pretty back and forth.
It was hot, bloody. I mean, it felt aggressive. It really did. It felt like, okay, this is going to be they're going to go out with a fight.
It was. They have to. This is their only chance. They have to win now or they're dead. So the first period, there was 0 goals. It was a lot of back and forth. The Panthers did a great job of not allowing shots through. Shots at the end of the first period, Florida led 17-3 shots-wise. So they led the shots by a lot. Nick Paul had a great chance towards the end of the period. He was right in front of the net but couldn't get it to go, and then the period ends 0-0. Vasi and the defense were a complete electric factory. It was absolutely amazing to watch.
Indescribable.
And we're obviously going to go into that more and do a breakdown. We'll talk more about that later. The second period starts. Cooch gets a breakaway chance. It doesn't go. Then Sergey gets checked, goes into the boards hard, but he is able to move his body where it's not awkward. So he goes into the boards hard but doesn't get hurt. They go on the power play. And then on the power play, Tampa gets 0 shots. So,
well, and that's not to say I don't want anyone to think that we're complimenting the Panthers. That's simply because we get really picky a lot of times in the playoffs and power plays, and we'll have 1 or 2 shots on goal. And a lot of times they're trying to set up the perfect play, and if they don't get it, they'll just keep passing around and wait for the shot. If they don't get it, they say, well, move on to the next one.
That's the Bolts.
The Bolts.
Then the Panthers get a 2-on-1 chance, but Vasi makes the saves. Then this was crazy. Verhaeghe from the Panthers, he takes a shot. It goes off of the post, then the crossbar, and then hits the other post and stays out. All 3 posts. That was definitely the closest goal to being scored by the Panthers all game.
You know what we call that?
What do we call it?
We call that a ring ding ding.
We do now.
It's a ring ding ding, no goal.
Trademark?
Watermark.
We'll remove that from the video.
What?
No, we won't. So then here's where what you were talking about, the goals to not goals started. So Sergachev, he rips one from the point, and then Alex Killorn tips it in. And then immediately the Florida Panthers challenge. And here was my frustration with it, because at least on the TNT broadcast that I was watching, there was not one single angle of Palat hitting the puck and then it going directly and hitting the net out of play for a delay of game.
Right.
So the commentators on TNT, how do these guys get paid to do what they do? The commentators that have been on there are complete morons and stooges. Those guys absolutely stink. It's horrible to watch a game when they're called, because they kept on saying that the body posture of Palat is evidence that the puck went out of play.
Which is not even that's like so far out of the rule book. It's not like, hey, did it look like it potentially could have gone out? Yeah, that's great. We have no footage. We can't. I mean, and looking back, it was a no goal. It did hit the net. But what was frustrating was that it took them 8 minutes to come to a decision. And I can't remember who the first tweet was, because I saw a bunch of tweets that are like that. I'm sitting there. And the consensus across everybody was, if it takes 8 minutes to review a play that you have on video, at that point you're just guessing. You're not even, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just looking at it,
Right.
saying, yeah, well, based on the body language, you don't even know, bro. Like,
Andre Palat looks like he's upset, so obviously he knew something. That would be like in football, like catching a touchdown pass and then like not celebrating it, and then he didn't catch a touchdown
it
because
doesn't
he's
count.
not
Challenge
happy.
it. Challenge it. There's no. Yeah, bro, it's terrible. These
Crazy
guys.
logic. So they rule it no goal, and then immediately it's now at the half point of the game, and now Florida's up shots 29-6.
That blew my mind.
30 minutes into the game, we only have 6 shots on goal. Obviously, the shot on goal that was made not a goal doesn't count as a shot. So then back to 6 instead of 7. Then Hagel gets a breakaway, but then the puck's rolling, so he can't get it up over the pads of Bobrovsky.
It was a good opportunity, though.
And then now, minutes apart, Anthony Cirelli, he wins a faceoff in the offensive zone. They've done this a couple times throughout the season, directly to Cooch. Cooch gets it and then snipes it for the goal.
This one bothers me still. This one still irritates me.
So this penalty, if the ref sees this penalty live, it's supposed to be a power play for the other team.
It's a 2-minute, right?
2-minute, yes.
That's right.
So Cirelli on the faceoff, he goes down to hit the puck and then like slides down to the ice. So now he has both hands on the ice and then like rakes the puck back with his stick.
Yeah.
And like his pinky like barely tipped the puck. So then they make it no goal. But there's no power play for the Panthers because now it's on review.
They didn't correct me if I'm wrong, but they challenged the goal, correct?
They did challenge it.
So this is where, now you guys who are hockey rule experts, if I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to tell us. But this is the problem that I have with that. They challenged the goal. They didn't challenge the face-off.
It's the same part of it.
Well, but there was nothing about the goal. They didn't blow the whistle because of the face-off. They didn't see it. It wasn't until the goal was challenged and then they went and did the video review that they saw a penalty, that it's the freaking playoffs, first of all.
That's the whole point.
But then they see this play. No, I'm just telling you, I have friends who've been following the Bolts for a decade, and it's probably one of the worst like pieces, back-to-back pieces of reffing when it comes to challenges of goals that I've ever seen in the playoffs of any sport.
But that's the purpose of a challenge.
It's literally the worst, because the puck grazes his pinky, and it has nothing to do with the shot going in.
But
it doesn't affect the
it's
shot.
A hand pass.
Yeah, well then call the freaking
By the
penalty. Don't
rule,
wait until they didn't see it.
They didn't see it until they challenged. Hey, was that a hand
Yeah,
pass?
did you see him grab freaking Kucherov by the back of the head and slam his head down into the ice in Game 3 and call that? No, you didn't. You've been freaking feeding the Panthers all this crap the whole time. The only fans that the Panthers have
You're really
are the
angry
refs.
for somebody that just won 4 games in a row.
Yeah, well, no, but yeah, I get it. Okay, maybe the refs came
But you don't,
emotional.
because that's challenges in sports. If somebody in baseball hits a home run and it's such a bomb it goes over the foul pole and they have to review it, they're not challenging the home run or not. They're challenging whether it was fair or not. It's the same thing. They're not challenging the goal. They're challenging whether his hand was a hand pass or not.
Do you believe that Cirelli's pinky gave us an unfair advantage?
I don't, but that's the rules. It's the same thing in soccer. If in soccer,
trash.
like
No, because in soccer you can't redirect with your hand in a drop down
correct.
motion.
It's the
So
same
it's not
thing.
the same.
You can't hand pass in hockey. You can catch
It wasn't-
the puck and drop it.
It was
So when
barely
he rakes
a
it,
hand
when
pass.
he rakes it with his hand, but I used the soccer example because
Can you rake it with your stick?
if in soccer you touch it with the slightest bit of your pinky or your elbow on accident, it's immediately dead.
But it's not the same, because in hockey you
But
can,
he
as long
passed it and his hand was touching the puck.
he passed it with his stick and his pinky
Let's
grazed
go back
the puck.
to the beginning of the video. Who saw it and then who was reading it on Twitter?
First of all, just because I read it on Twitter, that was like 12 hours ago, okay? The play was trash, and the TNT announcers didn't give you a great angle anyway. It was like, hey.
Well, they didn't choose the angles. They just are complete idiots and are overpaid to talk.
Really, they probably review other sports, like minor league baseball, and then they just had them fill in for the series against the Panthers because who cares?
They were like, hey, we need you guys.
Hey,
so
that's
now,
what they did with the refs, too.
Now at this point in the second period, the Lightning now have 2 disallowed goals. But then they get it back because
But we had momentum, which is
we did. That was the one thing I'll say all the way throughout the game. I never felt like we were down, which we weren't because they got shut out. But it felt like we had control, is what I mean.
Yeah, that's
throughout the entirety of the game. It felt like it was our game from the beginning to the end. Even when like we were down 17-3 shots, then 29-6 shots. It felt like we had the momentum in the game. So At this point, after the 2 disallowed goals, the entirety of Amalie Arena was chanting, "Bull crap, bull crap." It was awesome to
That was
hear.
the PG-13 version.
It was. So go Amalie. You guys are lit. It was loud there last night. So then Stamkos gets slew-footed, and it wasn't called for a penalty. Nick Paul shoots one off the post, and the Ekblad gets penalized for interference. The Lightning go on the power play. Cooch turns it over on the power play. And then so Florida gets a great 2-on-1 chance. But then Cooch made a phenomenal hustle play and gets back down, makes the stick lift just before they're able to shoot the goal. At the end of the third period, it's 34-14 shots, Florida.
Ridiculous.
61 total shots, so lots of blocks going on. We start the third period. Hagel has a breakaway. He skates to the left, shoots right, but can't get it over the pad of Bobrovsky. And then here's where things got good. Just under 14 minutes left in the game. The puck goes high, and, like, Pat Maroon reaches his stick over the goalie and, like, slaps it down at the ice, which technically from that point he can't play with a high stick. But then the goalie backs into the puck and puts it in the goal. Yeah. So it's a good goal.
Kind of an embarrassing goal, too. I mean, like, of all to have 2 goals that were, if there wasn't some sort of penalty prior to the shot itself, would have been good goals, like actually good goals. To have him, like, smack it down on the ice and the goalie backs into it is like quite the way to get your first point on the board, you know?
If it goes in the net, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So then immediately after the goal, Hedman gets high stick. They go on the power play. At this point in the series, the Lightning have outscored the Panthers 7-0 in the third period. And the Panthers are the best third period team in hockey currently.
Yeah.
So that definitely says a lot.
Well, they're not currently in hockey.
That's valid.
Sorry, boys. I'm hanging Panther skins on my walls.
I'm okay with that.
Next to a broom.
It's rowdy. There's 8 minutes left in the game. Amelie's going nuts. It's loud on TV. And then with 8.5 minutes left, the Bolts go on the power play again for cross-checking. So the Bolts ended up being 0 for 4 on the power play in this game. But it doesn't matter. They have control of the game.
It's better than 1 for 26.
Is that what the numbers were? Because I couldn't.
Yeah.
I knew it was 1 for something.
Yeah, I think it was bad. I think they ended 1 for 26, which is the worst playoff power play percentage in the history of the NHL.
Yeah. An interesting thing that happened with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left, there was a puck that it looked like it bounced weirdly off the wall. Vasi went back to get it, and the puck literally went like an inch wide of the net. And Vasi was just like chilling, like he didn't look like he was even going to try to stop it. That was pretty wild. But then ultimately the puck went off of the referee's head. So it wouldn't have counted anyways.
Yeah.
But when the closest shot to going in was the puck off of the 3-post, the ring-a-ding-ding as we call it.
The ring-a-ding-ding.
Or the referee getting a goal. That's not the greatest look for the Panthers. So Panthers are down bad.
Offensively, the best team in the league, and their best 2 shots of the night were off the ref's face and a soccer goal that didn't go in.
Yeah. So with 2.5 minutes left, 2:30 on the dot, Palat takes an actual penalty for throwing it out of play. So now out of the last 2.5 minutes, they have 2 minutes of penalty kill. They don't pull their goalie until 1:30 left in the game.
That's weird.
The shot blocking, the saves, the defense for the Lightning was absolutely incredible.
A+.
They tried to clear it multiple times, but obviously 6-on-4 on the ice is pretty tough. Then finally, with like 22 seconds left, Sorelli gets it, throws it down, and Palat was there and bangs it in.
He just slowly puts it in net, which is so funny because Palat's such a dangerous player. As far as I think he's like 3rd or 4th all-time playoff goals, and he's such a dangerous player. So it was funny to see him closing out the sweep with just this little sweep. I mean, it was like he had a broomstick. He just swept it in there. Said bye, boys.
So some closing statistics is that this was a 49 save shutout for Vasilevsky. In the past 7 series clinching games, he's had 6 shutouts, only 1 in the other win. But it didn't seem like a 49 save night. It seemed like it was easy for him and easy for the Lightning, but that's just how they play, and that's how it was.
He's
great.
in a different mode right now. He turned it up about towards the end of the Toronto series. He went into his like I'm a transformer mode. You know, where he's like pad on the ground, pad up. You know, he does the warm-ups. He's like, da, 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 and we're all like, he's a transformer, and he goes in this mode, and you can see it in his eyes, and it's like game over.
There you go. That's Vasi. So this is the Lightning's 6th straight third period without giving up a goal. And it was the first time that the Panthers were shut out all season, including the regular season. You have the best scoring team in hockey, over 4 goals a game.
Yeah.
And then now they get shut out for the first time ever. And obviously the Bolts win 2-0. They sweep the Panthers and then move on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Sheesh.
For what? Something like the 6th time in the past 8 years?
Yeah. You're talking
Maybe.
about going to the Eastern Conference Final?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that many, but it's probably 5 out of the last 8 or 9. It's a lot. I will say this victory, this series puts us in a very exclusive club. We're now one of only 3 NHL teams in history to have 10 or more consecutive playoff series victories. And so this game certifies the statement that this current Tampa Bay team is the greatest hockey team to play in the NHL in the last 4 decades. And we believe they'll three-peat to prove that. The last three-peat was the Islanders, 82, 83. And so a lot of people are talking whatever about the Lightning, and they have all these reasons as to why we've gotten what we got. And here's the deal. Crazy balanced team. We have great scorers, some of the best defensemen in the league. But this game for me was a statement to the league that we're not just coming back for a third, that we're going to take out the best offensive team in the league and sweep them and shut them out in the last game. And I think for me, it was, to not watch the game was kind of like, because it felt like a very landmark game. To see Vasi do what he did, we'll talk about that later. To see us sweep the Panthers while all these other teams are at 2-1. You all right there?
I'm good.
All these other teams are probably, you look at like the Hurricanes and you look at that series and then you look at Edmonton and Calgary, like they're probably going to game 7s. So then to have
you're getting pretty far ahead of yourself.
I'm just
you don't know what's going to happen.
I'm just to game 6s or 7s for both. Almost everybody else playing in the league is going to go to 6 or 7, and we get to 4. We get the sweep in the second round, and now we're going to have a week off to rest and recuperate and get ready for this Eastern Conference Finals.
That's very, very punny.
It's a dad
But
joke.
definitely a lot of injuries. Let's get healthy. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing, and clicking that bell, and we'll catch you on the next side.
You know you can look me in the eye. It's all because of Jesus. He the reason I'm alive. I live by faith, by grace. You know that I ain't gotta strive. They told me, Tony.